Hey all of you watching, this is a video review from OSReviews about the Mailstation 150 personal email client device. It's basically called an email device without the computer. And we've seen devices like this. I don't know if you remember, but there's the Peak handheld email device like this small, and that uses cellular data to connect to email, and then it costs you like $30 a month. Well, this is the same concept, except it's like at home, and it's a little bit of an earlier model. It's got a full keyboard, so first of all, you're going to be comfortably typing up messages, and since it's only messaging, you're not going to have a color screen, which is a good on this part because you're going to have eye strain like we did on the Peak because you couldn't do anything but type messages in the first place. But this still has a monthly fee, which is kind of ridiculous. You pay like much less, so at $5. And even more ridiculous is this doesn't have any wireless features built in. You have to connect this via a landline, and that's kind of really sad and depressing and all that glump. So what's addicting about this device is its price. At only $90, it's really cheap, and there's a lot of like rebates that you can get. You can get this for way cheaper nowadays, and it's really a profitable device if you're only going to be sending messages a few times for select months. Of course, if you don't want to buy a whole computer and it works just like a computer or looks like a computer, but if you're not, then you're not gonna get it. That's basically it. So design standpoint, you have this really blue and black device. It's super lightweight, which is really surprising, and because it doesn't have much under the hood, I suspect. You'll find a monochrome display, which is 6 inches diagonally, surprisingly. It's not a touchscreen, but it is a monochrome display, like we said. We also have a speaker for dial tones, so because you need to dial to this to access the internet, which is kind of bad because we don't like this dial tone. There's no reason to have a speaker. You can't listen to MP3s. You just should have covered this up. You have an on-off switch, which is easy to access. We also have access to a four-way navigation toggle, which takes you up, down, left, right, which is fairly easy to press. Sometimes you need to press a little bit harder to let it register, or maybe it's the processor inside. They're all very soft, touchy, very rugged buttons, but they could be more risen above the surface and tactile. We have a few buttons including a print, a main menu, and a back key. We also have a get email key, which this button then lights up green with an LED underneath when you're dialing to get email. There's a select key and a spelling key. To check spelling, because it has a built-in word checker with a dictionary that doesn't require the internet access. This is a good feature, actually, because it automatically checks like an email client should. So you might be wondering what these lines mean, and they correspond to different hotkeys once we are in different menus. Like if I was to say create email and I want to select that, press select. It takes me to the select key, and I can send this to somebody like blah 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 blah.com. And let's say I want to type an email, and let's see, this is a test, and I can save this to an address book and look through my address book for who to send to. I can send this now. I could save this as a draft. So these are the hotkeys that correspond to the screen features. They're fairly nicely implemented, but they're all plastic here instead of rubber, so they're kind of inky dinky, but not the best design there. The QWERTY keyboard on the bottom is a full-size QWERTY keyboard that is definitely corresponding to a laptop QWERTY keyboard. Unfortunately, unlike a laptop, this is made entirely out of plastic, and it's not chiclet, or it's not tactile or mechanical at all. In addition, you don't have any spring-loaded design, so when you're typing, it's really like typing on plastic, so not a very great feeling there. It's pretty cheap, but it definitely works. It's really better than any QWERTY keyboard a small computer or a small smartphone can really offer you. On the top of the device, you'll have access to a printing jack. This is a serial port, not a USB, unfortunately. We also have a charging port, or AC adapter port, and as you can see, we're connected to the landline via this cable that they include. But then you might be thinking, well, what am I going to do when I'm going to plug in my phone? Well, you plug in your phone here, so it kind of goes in and then goes out. So that's a great feature, actually, because Earthlink, CenturyLink, Earthlink were considerate enough to put the Mailstation as a device where you can also plug in your phone. It's a great little system in that design aspect. You'll also find on the back some design labels, as well as a on-the-go batteries, which you can put in and basically take this on the go. And there's a little bit of a hold recession here that we like. So another thing you might have noticed by now is that it's really lightweight, so easy to take on the go, and especially with the design standpoint. But then we didn't understand why you would put in batteries, considering this is a non-wireless product. So if I'm on a car, I'm not going to be able to send any of my emails. So that's kind of like, why would you even put that design there, and why would you call this portable? Because it's not portable. They should have focused more on wireless, in my opinion. There's no Wi-Fi, and, to be quite honest, this device really reminds me of the Diana by AlphaSmart by Palm, but that device, it has Wi-Fi built in. It has an SD card reader. It's a very modern device. It has a USB reader. It also has a monochrome screen, but it's touchscreen. It looks like this, but it's a lot more heavy, and that's why it's $400 as opposed to $90 MRSP, of course. So this is a tilt screen, which is a good feature, and this is a feature Palm AlphaSmart doesn't have. You can tilt this up, and it's a great viewing experience in terms of if I'm reading outdoors, considering the screen here is really glare efficient. It doesn't have too much issues reading under sunlight, which is really good. You'll also find a screen contrast button, although I really don't understand why you need something like this. I mean, you can make it darker or lighter. It's not like you were going to purposely make it lighter, and it's not like you're going to purposely make it like this, so they just could have preset it and maybe let us tweak with it in the settings key instead of putting a button which you can accidentally kind of hit, like I did once, and I was like, oh my god, the screen's broken now, but really it's not. Let's take a look. So basically how this works is that you pay them $5 a month, and then you can set your own email, like block@gmail.com, blah 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 @yahoo.com. Except right now it comes preloaded with a email you have to reset, and this is just a email that comes out of the box. This one, if you use the email I gave you, then it's free of charge. So I'm just going to use this for our testing purposes. So you guys actually look at this email number and remember it, please. If you have any questions and concerns just regarding this product, please send it at this email just for us to test it out too, even further. And even if anything in general, this is one of my email numbers now, I guess, so just email me at this number listed above. At the 150, we can also take a look at other features, like the outbox, and we can create emails and send them, press the select button and we're there. So if I wanted to do a subject, and let's type a little bit and see what we can come up with. Let's say this is a test. It's a test here at OSReviews, and I put a period, and let's see what happens. This is a test here at OSReviews. Oh, the cap button was hit up. So how would we be able to go back and change things? Well, you have to press this button, and if you hold it down, it actually doesn't take you, takes you a little bit faster. And then if I want to delete the space, I press delete, and it takes me there. So overall, what do I think about this device? Well, here's the thing. It spell checks fine, but if you make a lot of mistakes and you have to go in by yourself and change it, because the spell check dictionary is really limited, it takes a lot of time. I mean, this is easier, I guess, but scrolling back and forth, it's just not as easy as a optical mouse trackpad or as a touchscreen. So it's kind of troublesome there because it has a processor to do it. It's moving, but it's just not connecting for me, and that's kind of disappointing. Another thing is that for $5 a month, I would really expect this device to have at least a basic web browser. Like if I'm typing something and I want to go to Google and do a really quick search just on the internet to see something maybe on Wikipedia, I would expect it not to just go into email. I know that this is called email without a computer, and I understand that, but if you're going to connect me to the internet, the whole concept of email without a computer has to be cheap. And since it's not so cheap anymore with all the monthly fees added up, I want a little bit more. So that's basically how that works. Sending the email is fairly easy. It dials up and then it dials and sends. So it takes a little bit of time to even send the email, but I can receive it fine. I can go back and I send emails to this fine, and everything works very smoothly and integrated wise. So here's what we think. We think that this is a very poorly implemented device, and it's why it's not so successful, the 150 model, because it's not wireless and it doesn't integrate very nicely at all. And the cost is really expensive at this moment. So we would recommend the company. It's a great concept, going in, revising it, maybe taking out the monthly fee, because it works fine. If you just use this email, it works fine. You don't have to put any monthly fee. It means that you can use it without any monthly fee. We wish that they could just let us customize it a little bit more and take out the monthly fee entirely and put in our own email addresses personally, so that at one cost, it's still a valuable product. So that's the Mailstation 150. Please read our full review at osandbtxreviews.com. Thank you.